I was playing FC25 and Dream League Soccer the other day, and I asked myself why FC25 has ST, CF, LF, and all kind of other position. But in Dream League Soccer, we just call it CF. And that gave me the idea to make a video about the definition of every forward ever. And just a reminder before we start, in modern football, this definition has been loosely defined and mixed, so this video is basically for entertainment. But through personal experiences and a lot of sources, we figured out this definition can somewhat be accepted by the majority of people. A player nowadays can play all of these roles combined if the manager asks them to, like what Pep Guardiola did with Phil Foden. Before we go into the main content, we will need to know what is a forward. Definition of a forward. A forward is an outfield position. Remember, outfield, bench don't count, that primarily plays further up the pitch than midfielder and defenders. Like any attacking player, a forward's role heavily relies on their ability to create space for attacking plays. They typically position themselves in the opponent half of the field, so they have fewer defensive jobs. This allows the forward to usually score more goals for their team compared to the other position. In modern football, forwards have evolved into a lot of forms. They will have different play style, different position and goals to achieve. Due to this reason, all kinds of roles has been born. The first position that I want to talk about is centre forward, also known as a CF. The traditional role of a centre forward is to score the majority of goals. Usually they are tall and have good physique, equal to good heading ability. The player may also be used to get onto the end of the crosses. They can also win long balls or receive passes and retain possession of the ball with the back to the goal in order for his teammate to advance. A central forward can also drop deep to create more depth for the midfield. That is the reason why a centre forward operates slightly below the opponent penalty area and has a closer relationship with the midfielders. While they can score a lot of goals, they are more of a playmakers, covering a wider area and connecting with the attacking midfielders. However, unlike the fullbacks, they don't need to operate near the touchline. Their aim is to set up their teammate with the right ball and create the best chance for goal scoring. Beyond that, they can also perform other functions as instructed by the coach. At present, Karim Benzema, Harry Kane, Kai Havertz, and Robert Lewandowski are considered as centre forward. Although I don't quite agree on Lewandowski as a centre forward, I see him as a striker. And that leads us to the second definition, a striker. The role of a striker is rather different from a traditional centre forward, although the terms centre forward and striker are used interchangeably at times, because they both play further forward and towards their opponent's goal. This position is often associated with tall, physically strong player and has the best finishing ability, such as Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Haaland. Strikers take up the advanced position near the penalty box of the opponents. Their mission is to receive passes from their teammates and score. The terms striker and centre forward are very similar, but to overcomplicate everything, they still have some differences. The players in these two roles are very good in controlling the ball in their feet, and very good in finishing with all of their body parts, also the middle foot. They should have the ability to make all balls run and find the gaps within the opposing players. The main difference is, while the striker is the prime scorer of the team, the centre forward also have to create scoring opportunities. A striker prefers to stay near the opponent's penalty box, but the position of a centre forward is not. A centre forward focuses more on passing the ball to create opportunities for themselves and other players. This is why in many cases they drop very deep to the central. In contrast, a striker stands very high. They tend to find the gaps between the defenders to collect the passes while making the best use of their dribbling ability. This is why we usually see a striker that is fast, but rarely see a central forward that has the same speed. And that is also the reason why we see a lot of central forwards that know how to pass. But that is very rare to see in a striker. Definition number 3, shadow striker. This position is loosely defined and most often misunderstood. But to describe this position to a 6-year-old, I will say a shadow striker is a player with a free role, maybe have the role of a striker, a central forward, or an attacking midfielder. Or they can be all of it if needed, but their main goal is still to receive the ball and distribute it. This term was coined by the French advanced playmaker Michel Platini, called 9.5, which he used to describe the playing role of his successor in the number 10 role at Juventus, the Italian player Roberto Baggio. And it was Baggio who later became the perfect standard for this position. Conceivably, this role can alternate as a second finisher, provided that the player is also a prolific goal scorer. Otherwise, they need to have good skill, progressive carries, acceleration, vision, passing, orchestrate and link up with other players. Although they are often deployed in a free role, either running forward or dropping further back, Shadow striker do not tend to get involved in the orchestration of the attack because they don't need to defend. They need to save their energy in a supporting role as a goal assist provider. This is the reason why most people had considered this role is dead in modern football when all the player in the field must involve in any stage of the game. If we stick to this definition, the most notable players that represent this definition best in recent years is James Rodriguez. Some will consider Rooney and Bruno Fernandes in this definition, although they run like a fucking ball. But Lamfao, this is so confusing. How come there is a central forward dropping deep and then there is a shadow striker dropping deep too? And if the shadow striker is so well-rounded, then what is the point of that false 9? This is why I will talk about the definition number 4, a false 9. A false 9, similar to a more advanced attacking midfielder and playmaker role. It's an unconventional lone striker or central forward who drop deep into the midfield. The purpose of this is that it creates a problem for the opposing central back, who can either follow the false 9, leaving a space behind them for on-rushing midfielders, forwards or wingers to exploit, or leaving the false 9 to have time to pick up a pass. This is also the differences between the false 9 and the shadow striker. A false 9 usually has to run more. Their primary goal is to confuse the opponent defenders by making the run. Technically, they are a striker, but drop deep and then do everything that they think is good for the team to score. A shadow striker, as mentioned before, usually doesn't make the crazy run. Their primary goal is to receive the ball and distribute it. A false 9 shares many key attributes with a deep-lying striker, including the ability to dribble in tight space, excellent short passing to connect with the midfielders, and strong vision to spot teammates making runs in dangerous area. And of course, a false 9 is also usually misunderstood with a central forward, since their primary goal is to play deeper and become a playmaker. However, a central forward does not have to move freely like a false 9. A false 9 can run all over the place and is allowed to dribble, shoot like crazy to create surprise. A prime example for these differences are Messi and Harry Kane. When you watch Messi play, you can easily notice that Messi usually runs around the midfield. He can appear in the left, right, or in center. As a false 9, Messi can dribble, shoot the ball from outside of the box, or pass the ball to an on-rushing midfielder, forwards, or winger to exploit. Harry Kane, however, does not have this freedom on the pitch. He usually drops deep at a straight line to the center of the field, not everywhere like a false 9. The primary goal of Harry Kane was to link up with the rest of the team and then run forward to receive the ball and score goals just like a striker. We have been talking about the inside too much. We should talk about the wing. Definition number 5. Inside forward. Unlike wingers, which I will talk about this role later, an inside forward is a wide attacking forward who usually plays as a part of the front three. From their position, they look to attack in field by running and dribbling diagonally towards the goal. Their main attacking threat often comes through shot on goals, so inside forwards usually operate on what might traditionally be thought as their opposite flank, a left footer on the right wing, and vice versa. Inside forward were the two supporting roles on either side of a central forward in the 2-3-5 formation. The winger has the width outside, and the two inside forwards supported the forward ahead of the three midfielders. In this formation, the winger position will usually be fullbacks pushing high to support the attack. The most important attribute that this position can bring to a team is the ability to dribble inside towards the goal from a wide starting position. Therefore, the inside forward needs extremely good 1v1 solo ability. The most famous example for this definition would be Mo Salah at Liverpool, Ronaldo at Real Madrid, and some would say Neymar and Messi at Barcelona. Definition number 6. Wingers. A winger is an attacking player located in the wide position near the touchline. They can be classified as a forward, considering their origin as the old outside forward, and it continues to be termed like that in most parts of the world, especially in Latin and Dutch. However, in the British, they are usually counted as a part of the midfield due to their famous 4-4-2 back in the day. It is a winger duty to beat the opposing fullbacks, deliver cutbacks or crosses from wide position, and to a lesser extent, to beat the defenders and score from close range. They are usually some of the quickest players, and usually have good dribbling skills. The 2-3-5 formation also have wingers. However, the 2-3-5 formation using wingers differ from 2-3-5 formation using the inside forward, which is, the two inner positions are typically occupied by the attacking midfielder or inverted fullback, while the wingers hold the wider position. In the 2-3-5 formation with the inside forward, the wide area are not occupied by the forwards, but by the advanced fullback. There is the key differences between inside forward and wingers. Inside forward is close to the penalty area, while wingers are near to the line. To make it simple, there are two different types of wingers. First one is the outside wingers that play in the same lane with their dominant foot. Usually, the players' main duty are to assist, dribble into the box, cross into the box. Their main mission is to assist teammates to score. In contrast, an inverted winger usually stay on the wrong side of the pitch in order for them to cut inside and shoot with their stronger foot and provide in-swinging crosses. As said, the inverted wingers is somewhat very similar to an inside forward. The main difference is that the outside winger usually play wider than an inside forward. An interesting fact about this position is that this tactic was used by Frank Rijkaard, moved Lionel Messi from the left flank onto the right wing, initially against the player's wishes, but this allowed him to cut into the center and shoot or cross with his left foot. The final definition I want to talk about is target forward. The term target forward or target man is often used to describe a particular type of striker whose main role is to win high ball in the air. They hold up the ball and create chances for other members or themselves. These players are usually tall and physically strong, good in heading the balls, and capable of playing with the back to the goal. A prime example of this type of player in modern football is Olivier Giroud. As stated above, the target forward is a player who does not run or look to make the run as compared to the other forwards. Typically, they are strong, tall, and physical players. Usually, the build-up play of a target forward usually happens like this. First, the goalkeeper will launch a long kick or distribute the ball to a central defender or fullback. The defender will play a long ball to the striker in the air or at the ground. The target forward usually has perfected their ability to provide first touch of the ball on all of the area of the body. This hold-up will allow their teammate to transition forward. The target forward will now pass the ball backwards or creating space by moving around the defenders. Making combination play with a false 9, midfielders or wingers, or themselves can turn around and facing the goal in attempt to score by dribbling or shooting. And that is all the definition of a striker that I can find.